Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, well, good morning and good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world. For some of you, it's very early morning, and for some of you, it's late at night. For me, I don't know what it feels like for me at the moment. As I said, I'm running on about 2 hours sleep and a lot of adrenaline. So if I nod off, we can't throw something at me, but just clap your hands or blow a whistle or something. That'll fix me. Good to see you all. Good to be here for another month. So really excited to talk and share and catch up and see where we're at and see what we're doing and see what we've done. And it's exciting, isn't it? Isn't life exciting?
Yes.
You've got your book launch soon, haven't you?
I did one last Saturday, and I've got another one on Wednesday coming.
Yeah, I think I'm going to that. Can you share a little about the book?
Yes, at the book launch, I will share a lot about the book.
Oh, no, not now.
No, not now.
Okay.
I'd rather keep this for you guys.
That's all right.
That's okay. I'll have to wait, Paula. It'll be worth the wait, trust me.
Okay.
I've already got my copy.
I can vouch for that. I was at the book launch, but I'm still waiting for my book. So I'm so excited.
I've got my book.
Oh,
hey, Felicia. Justine's got hers. Oh, cool. Yay. Good. Well, it was fun. It was good. Thank you. And the launch went well. There's about 25 people there. And I'm very grateful for some of you that are here attended. And I'm very grateful for you for being there. It's an exciting time. It really is. It's lots happening at the moment. I just mentioned I just moved yesterday. So finally fell into bed at about 12 o'clock, midnight, and couldn't sleep. Just when your brain's going a million miles an hour with all the things you've got to do and all the boxes that need unpacking and where are they going to go and what's the office going to look like, and new computer, new internet, and the computer internet's slow, so now I'm on the laptop. So all the joys that come along with moving, but they all settle down, don't they, when we find our rhythm? But it's good. So let's kick it off. Who wants to kick off and tell us how they're going? Any thoughts or any ideas, any breakthroughs, any achievements? Where are we at?
I'll start.
I know, Justine, you've always got great news. Come on.
So this month I have written 4 articles and they've been submitted, and I finished my chapter for Business in the Hills, and I've started my book.
There you go. So just a lazy week for you then.
Yeah, so all up, I've probably written about 10,000 words this month.
Okay.
Plus work my other 2 businesses and everything else in there. So yeah.
You've got a young family.
Guys. What was that?
Have you got a young family?
I've got 6 grandchildren, and I have the boys every second weekend for a night or 2. And I work with disabled people throughout the week. So life is pretty busy. But if you make the time to write, you'll have the time to write.
Well, that's
there
good.
You go. That's all you need to hear.
Busy couple.
I just turn the TV off at night, and it's like, for me, my writing time is at night. Some people can do it early in the morning. I can't. I've found what works for me, and it's turning the TV off, and I sit there in silence and I just write.
Well done. That's wonderful. Good. Well, I want to...
No more collaboration books.
No, that's it. You're banned from collaboration books. Yeah. That is it.
Oh, I know.
I want to welcome Matt, because Matt's been to a forum before, but Matt's just we're now officially sort of working together, and I'm going to help him with his book. And Matt, do you want to just introduce yourself again? I know people have met you. There was quite a few weeks / months ago, but it would be good just to hear from you and tell us about how you're going, because you've done a lot already. I mean, you've written a first draft already, haven't you?
Yeah. So I suppose I'll give an intro. Yeah. So hi, my name is Matt Caruana. I've been, I suppose I'm writing a memoir. is that the right word for it? Biography, my story? Like, I don't know what I'd call that.
Yeah, memoir. If it's your story, it's a memoir. If there's lessons in it,
Yeah.
it's self-help.
It's a bit of both.
I think it's more self-help.
Pardon?
Well, yeah.
I'd call it a self-help, Matt.
Fair, yeah. Yeah, it was, so basically I'm writing a book about my story, but also like in every chapter I'm writing like a section about like, this is what's underneath this section. If you take anything away from reading this chapter, like take this away, sort of thing. Yeah, but I try to keep those parts really short, like to the point, and then get to the story, because that's really what I'm writing about. And recently, because I was also working with Justine for a while, and who I was very, very grateful to be connected with through this forum. We came across the journal part of the book, which is a significant part of my story. And I didn't even notice. I ended up taking like a 3-4 week break of writing. And I thought I had my first draft done until I found the journal again about this part of my story. And then I figured let's add an afterthoughts, final words section. And I put it off for like so long because of how emotional it was for me. And yeah, when I wrote it, it was like a lot of tears like covering me, but it was a massive breakthrough at the same time. I got to say, it's been quite a journey. But yeah, yeah.
Sorry, mate. Sorry to interrupt you. Do you?
No.
There's some people here that don't know your story. Do you want to just quickly, just a very quick recap of your journey? What you're writing, what your book's about. I know a lot of people have met you or heard from you, but there are people here that haven't.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So so my story is very, I would say, mental health like focused, where it started when I was 12 years old. I fell into a deep depression, dark thoughts, suicidal thoughts, and even like quite a bit of anxiety. So I wasn't talking to anyone. All of a sudden, a massive change in my personality. I fell into drugs quite heavily pretty quickly after, and yeah, to sum up a long story short, I attempted suicide when I was 16 years old by throwing myself off a building, which left me with a spinal cord injury. Now, I'm on my standing frame here, but I'm actually wheelchair bound, though that's not permanent, and I know that for a fact. And I'm 6 years post-injury, but working towards changing that. But what truly changed my life was finding speaking, that the one lesson I needed to learn was one lesson I was avoiding the whole time, which was to open up and be authentic.
Thanks, mate. If you don't mind, just spending a bit of time here, because I think this is incredibly powerful, and this whole idea of vulnerability and opening up. And your story, mate, is incredibly inspiring. But the story, that the turning point for you was the train ride, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you mind just sharing just briefly this story of the bogan on the train?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, this was definitely the first turning point I had after my injury that changed things for me. And not only was the first turning point, but I would say was the cause for all the transformation. I was 3.5, 4 months into hospital, and I was with my mum. We went from St. Leonard's to Penrith, which is about an hour and a half on the train. I got these 2 piercings on my eyebrow, got them done, and I'm not sure if any of you guys have piercings or tattoos, but when you get a new one, it's kind of a cool feeling. And on the train ride back to the hospital, halfway through the trip, this guy comes on, and I'd never met him before in my life. And before he even sits down, this complete bogan just looks to his right and just, yeah, fuck you do to yourself. And I don't know what it was, because I hadn't told anyone up to that point what I'd done. I had told every single person I had a fall or that I had an accident. For some reason, it came out. It must have been, how abrupt he was, how, I suppose, happy I felt with my piercings. But I shared, I attempted suicide. And he looked at me, laughed, and said, "That was pretty fucking stupid. Look at you now." And yeah, let's just say in that moment, that I didn't feel how I am now. I laughed at it. It was pretty awkward. But the next morning, I woke up with a sense of lightness that I hadn't felt in as long as I could remember. It was the first time I went and saw my social worker that, you know, I didn't wait for her to chase me up. And I shared what had happened with the guy. And she said, Matt, maybe there was something there. You know, maybe just opening up to that guy for the first time. I mean, you mentioned you've been lying to people now for 4 months. Maybe opening up to that guy, got things off your chest, made things a bit lighter. But what if you were to open up to the people close to you in life? Could you potentially, you know, maybe strengthen the relationship you already have with them? And that, I honestly, I didn't want to hear. But my social worker made a good point. Because that question stuck on my mind. I will remember those words like for the rest of my life, because I really didn't want to hear it. And that afternoon, my girlfriend at the time came to visit. And when she asked, how are you today? I was actually real with her. I told her how I was feeling and what was going through my mind. And it was amazing because she says, Matt, this is the first time in our relationship, by the way, we've been together for 3 years, that I feel like you've been real with me. I've never felt closer to you and I've never loved you more. Now, the reason those words meant so much to me was because in that moment, I'm thinking to myself, how can you love me? I'm like 4 months ago, before my injury, I was very muscular, like very lean, like I was very athletic, all this stuff. Now I'm stuck in a wheelchair and I can't function or feel half my body. All my muscles have deteriorated. And you never felt closer to me, never loved me more. And I started talking to people and I, eventually found speaking. It all stemmed from that guy on the train.
Bogan on the train.
Bogan on the train.
That's awesome, mate. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think I wanted you to share that because the power is vulnerability. And I think a lot of us are shy. I know I've shied away from vulnerability for a lot of my life. I didn't want people to know the real me. I didn't think they'd like me. And I think in your writing, the more vulnerable you can be, the better. The Americans, you know what a bogan is?
Not really.
Oh, sorry.
Shall I translate?
Yeah,
I think I got it out of context here. I'm getting it out of context.
A bogan is like a country bumpkin, but not inherently from the country. So it would just kind of be like, it's almost not
redneck.
Yeah, redneck though is definitely got that kind of like this sort of country element to that. It's kind of that just sort of like, yeah, a redneck who lives in New York is a bogan. How about that? But born in New York would be a bogan. How about that?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. We had to do that translation.
I'm glad to be useful.
Good on you, Kat. That's awesome. Anyway, Matt, thanks for sharing, mate. And I know your book is going to change many, many, many lives. That's for sure, because lots of young people go through what you went through. And lots of young people don't feel heard. And so to hear from you to inspire them to talk, be open, be real, be vulnerable is very powerful.
Thank you. And thank you everyone else for listening. Appreciate it.
That was awesome.
Thanks for sharing.
Anyone else got some thoughts or ideas, some achievements, some breakthroughs they'd like to share?
I can, Andrew, but mine's more of a, it's really a takeaway message for the end of the meeting, but I'll say it now. I just want to, my takeaway is always have books when you have published them in the boot of your car, because you never know when someone's going to want to buy one.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me this week. I was just happened to be at a function. There's only about half a dozen people there, a young guy there. Actually, it was a younger guy, a lot young. Well, he was, I don't know, 30s is young, isn't it? Long hair, beard, The last person I would imagine would be interested in buying my book. And we played this game. It was like a get-to-know-you game. Everyone had a card and there were questions on it. You had to wander around the people asking a question. One of them on one card was, have you written a book? And he happened to have that card, and he asked me, and I said, yes, I have. Oh, really? You know, like I've never met anyone that's bought a book or written a book. And I said, oh, yeah. And he said, what's it about me? I go, what's it about? I go, well, it's about me, you know, that sort of thing. It's a memoir as well. And just talked a little bit about it. He said, oh, I want to buy one. I said, okay, it's one of my boots. So I sold the book that night. It was great.
Well done.
Mm.
Always have a book in your boot. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, hang on. Let's translate. Let's translate trunk.
Thank you. I was just going to say, Kat, would you please translate boot? Because I'm picturing
Trunk.
putting it in my boot.
Just for explanation, because not everyone would know this. Like I was born in America, that's why I'm volunteering to translate. Because yes, it is the trunk of the car. So
you put it in your nose instead of your foot. In your nose instead of your shoe.
If you're gonna go down that way, we're gonna start talking about thongs, and we're gonna go on a whole journey of where things go that is not on your body in the two countries in the same place. So let's.
Can I?
Right.
How much you sold the book for?
Me?
Yeah.
I sold it for $25.
Oh, really?
You got it. Yes.
Because I have a book, and I don't. It's 200 copies to sit in my garage. I do nothing with it.
Oh, well, you've got to be proactive.
I know.
LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Put them in your trunk.
Do a launch, an online launch poll.
All the time. I'm always talking to people.
Well, ages ago now. It was in 2015, so it's a bit late to launch it again.
No,
Right.
nobody knows that you've
Never too late. Never.
Just pretend you've just had it published and start all over. Nobody knows you have it. That's why they're still sitting in your garage.
That's great.
Of self-promotion, I just shy away from it. I just can't. I just find it really difficult to even, promote it. Like to put it on Facebook and say, "Hey, I've got this book. Anybody want to?" Do you know? Like it's like,
Well, why did you write the book?
I wrote it for children. It's a self-esteem book for children.
So it's not about you.
No.
So then put it out to the world. Put it on Facebook. You're not self-promoting you. You've written a book for someone else.
There's
a difference.
I was forced into going online because my book launch it's almost, Andrew, can you believe this? Nearly 2 years since my book came out. And on the day before, the day of my book launch, the very next day, we went into lockdown, and I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and we ended up being the longest city in the world to have I can't speak this morning. We're the only city in the world that had the longest lockdown. Well, lockdown for nearly 20 months. So I was forced to go online, and I really had my LinkedIn profile was practically zero. I created a new Facebook page just for my book. My Instagram, I think I had 10 followers. Now I've got about 120 or something. But you need to sell yourself. And don't worry about what people think or anything. Just do it from the heart, which is what I did. And just pop it out there, take photos of it. I took a photo of my book with my dog reading my book, and I posted that up. And that's quite funny, and people love pets. So, it's just, if you go to my website, you can see all the different things, or search my name, you can see all, and same with Andrew. I mean, he plasters himself all over the place. And it's just about doing that, plastering yourself. Do you understand plastering yourself? Okay. Putting yourself out there. You've just got to put yourself out there and don't worry about anything. Just do it,
Can I just say though, Annie, I think it was about a year ago that we were on one of these, and you were saying, "Oh, I don't know how I would do a live Q&A." And so I'm just saying, I just want to share that, not against you, but I'm just saying, Paula, like a year ago, there was a handful of us here going, "Come on, Annie, it'll be fine, and you can just make up your own question." And like we were saying to Annie, what she's now saying to you. So like that, I've just witnessed that. I'm just saying, like, obvious, practice what she's preaching, because obviously it works. Because a year ago we were trying to tell Annie to just put yourself out there and just and now she's obviously an advocate for it. So the practice works.
Well, I'm not on LinkedIn. Do you have to? I hate a lot of that, and it sounds so technical. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and that's it. I don't want to go on any other media like platform. It's just too much. Like, and I'm on LinkedIn, but I do nothing with it, and it looks messy and complicated, and I don't particularly want to go on it. But do you have?
I got all my opportunities through LinkedIn.
Really?
I got interviewed overseas. I was on podcasts overseas. I was in a newsletter in the UK. They put me on a newsletter because my story is I'm a cancer survivor. So I was on a cancer newsletter in the UK. I sold a book in Norway. A lady from Norway contacted me. LinkedIn is international. And for me, I would say it is an absolute must.
And what's it called, Annie? What's your book called?
My book's called The Strength Within.
Here it is.
Justine's good. Justine's helping it. One she prepared earlier.
Can I just say this? Do one platform really well to start with. So if you're confident on Facebook, start on Facebook and put it all over Facebook. And when you've mastered that, then move on to the next one. And then move on to the next one. Because if you try and do all three and you're overwhelmed by technology, you'll do all three really badly.
Or
so
none
do
of them.
Do one first and get it over and do it really, really well, and then move on to the next one. I'm on 7 platforms.
Wow.
But I now actually employ someone to help me do them. But you do one really well, then move on and bring them all in. Would you agree, Andrew?
I think that's the only way to get good at anything is just one step at a time.
Yeah.
If you try and take on too much, you'll just overwhelm yourself.
And
Absolutely.
Facebook's a good platform for parents. And if your book is for children, you're actually talking to parents. So there's nothing wrong with being on Facebook. But there's also something you need to consider that's like, what are you messaging and what are you trying to say and why? So, if you're saying the book is about self-confidence for children, you can think on Facebook, you could easily say, like, I'm running a competition to give away 10 books, for example. And I would like to hear the stories why you want to give this book to a child in your life. Like, that garners traction. And that's actually a more appropriate project for Facebook than for LinkedIn, for example. So there's nothing wrong with starting out on Facebook. It's just the kind of messaging you want to be putting out there. If you're trying to connect with, as Annie was just saying, journalists, Facebook is probably not the place to do there. So it's people pay money as marketers, people pay money on every single platform. So they all have a reason. It's just about matching, your message and your reason to the audience you're seeking on those platforms. So no reason not to start on Facebook.
Have you got it on Amazon?
Oh, it's on Amazon, and it was published by Ex Libris, and it's on Amazon. It's been there, but they've all put such a huge price on it. Like, it should not be $30. It should be like 16 or something, or 20 at the most. But it's on Ex Libris for a high price and Amazon. And it's ridiculous. And I've told Ex Libris to bring the price down. Look, I'm very poor with all this technical stuff, and then I don't follow up. And I just find the outside world, I feel like I want a secretary to deal with all that stuff, and that'll cost money, because I just don't want to have to engage with. I sort of think if I do this with LinkedIn or that, I have to answer all these questions. Or on Facebook, people will sort of start emailing me or contacting me about, can I do this? And I just don't want to be inundated with.
Paula, can I just stop you for a sec? You want to be a successful author, correct?
Yep.
That's what it is. Everything you said you don't want to do, that's what it is.
You have to do.
Yeah, that's what you don't. I mean, if you want to be a successful author, you've got to get out there. So look, I think there's a couple of things I'm hearing in your voice. There's a lot of self-talk that's very limiting. Okay. And I want to say this to you because I love you and I've known you for a long time. And we've had conversations like this a lot. Yeah. The first and most important thing is always, what do you want? Why are you doing this? If you don't have clarity, and I've said this time and time and time again, it's got to start with a clarity or vision of what do you want? Yeah. The two most important parts of success are not how well you can write and not how well you can do social media and not how good you are at technology. It's got zero to do with it. The two things that are going to create success in your life is, number one, clarity of what you want and a real strong desire to make that happen. Number two, you got to change your self-talk. Everything you've said, you and everyone here sitting here listening to you, Paula, tell us why you're no good at social media, that you're no good at LinkedIn, you don't want to talk to people. Well, that's what you're going to get. Okay. So your words are incredibly, incredibly potent. They will take you to the greatest heights, or they will take you spiraling down. Words, nothing else. I can learn. Your word should be, I will do what if it's important to you, I will learn what I need to learn. I will find someone who can help me. I will improve. Every day I get better on LinkedIn. Every day I get better on social media. Every day I feel myself getting stronger and more confident. These are the words you need to be using. And you need to catch yourself. Whenever you catch yourself saying, I can't or I don't want to, you got to go, hey. I don't think have you all seen that video, Stop It, that I've shared?
Yeah, hilarious. Is that with Bob Newhart?
With Bob Newhart.
It's funny.
If you haven't seen it, and Paula, you need to watch that again. Stop it. You got to catch yourself. Honestly, we all do. And I'm not directing this to you. This is for everyone, right? Because we all let negatives come out of our mouth, right? We all let limiting beliefs come out of our mouth about time and, all this sort of stuff. I mean, that's the bottom line, is success has less to do with how good you are on social media. Success is about, what do you want? Why do you want it? What are you prepared to do about it? And support that with positive, strong, empowering beliefs. Yeah, that's all it is. I wouldn't do anything until you get those things, those foundational pieces in order. And those of you that work with me know that's how we always start. We don't start, okay, let's write your book. No. Writing a book's easy. Yeah. I mean, you've done it. It's getting your book to do what you want it to do. That's where the work is. Yeah. And that means you've got to get out there. So look, Paul, I think there's lots of things. If you want to chat, contact me maybe, and we can.
Because I keep
excited. And I'll slap you around in private, not in front of everyone else. Okay. You're a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person. You've got such a beautiful heart. You've got potential. You've got talent. You've got everything. What you don't have is self-love, and that's the most important piece. Because it doesn't matter what I think about you, and it doesn't matter what anyone thinks about you. It's what you think about you that will determine your success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True, Andrew. And thanks.
You're welcome. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You are. You truly are. Like you all are. Like, this, I think everyone here is incredible. It doesn't matter what I think, right? It only matters. And I know this because for most of my life I've been, but when I started loving me, wow, did things change. I'm good. I really like me now. Yeah, you want to be able to say that and really mean it. How do you feel about you, Matt? Someone who threw himself off a roof to try and kill himself at the age of 16. How do you feel about you right now?
That is a very relevant question and very, very timely question right now. Fucking pardon the French, but seriously, awesome. Do you mind if I share for a minute? I'll just skim over it. It was, basically, I touched on it briefly. I don't believe my injury is permanent. I really don't. The amount of doctors, specialists, professionals, whatever you want to call them, telling me, Matt, your spinal cord is severed into two. There's no way you're going to have nerve signals travel beyond that point. You will never walk again. You never get any sensation, any function back. Let's just say I have been doing sit to stands every single day with my trainers for a while now. But yesterday, I uploaded something to my story because I was at my physio clinic. And so not yesterday, the day before. But it's seriously emotional for me. I was doing leg lifts But before we did leg lifts, my physio had to adjust his legs over to protect my left knee. Though when he moved back for a second, my legs stayed in place for, I would say, a second. And the fact that it stayed in place for that 1 second means that's me driving the force down in my legs. That is, it's just confirmation that I'm on the way, and all that's left now is just strengthening up. That's all that's left. And everyone telling me that it's never going to happen. Yeah, it's how I feel about myself. I've been honestly crying these last 3 days, just in all these tears, but because I'm so like, yeah, I have such a strong belief in myself. And I believe, yeah, I'm fucking awesome.
That's awesome, mate. And thank you again for sharing that. That's so cool. But now, so here's the deal. Like, logically, what Matt did is not possible, right? Like, he's been told. Why was he able to get that movement, that control over his leg when it was told it was impossible?
It was the brain. Yeah.
What we believe.
I was told 10 years ago I'd never work again. Yeah. And now I'm running 3 businesses. So.
I was told
you're the busiest person I know.
Annie?
I was told I was going to die.
Yeah.
That was 41 years ago.
Well, you certainly didn't do that.
41 years ago.
Wow, good on you. See, I mean, Paul, I hope you're getting this. I hope you're not distracted on the phone. You're on mute.
I wanted to tell Matt about a great meditation that I do because I've had cancer, and it's an epigenetic meditation. And what it gets you to do, like, just look up epigenetic meditation on YouTube, and it gets you to see yourself as fully whole when you're meditating, as this 100% healed, just totally healed. And then you get another 100% better version of yourself even after that one. It's just, I just was trying to find it. It's quite hard to find. And I had it a couple of years ago, and every time I search for it, I find it. But that's the basic gist of it. But there are a lot of different epigenetic meditations that are very it's not that one, no. But if I find it, I'll post it on the forum. And
please do.
Can you post things on the forum or not?
Yep, of course you can.
Okay, I'll search for it because it's the best one, and all the other ones I come across are not as good as that first one I had.
Awesome.
So I'll find it for you, and you do it every day, twice a day if you want.
I think there's a lot of us that struggle with self-promotion, and some people kind of glide into it easily, and that's great for them. And there's things that I do that I'm particularly good at and do easily, but self-promotion is not an easy one. So it's a matter of just, knowing that it's going to be a lot harder. You're going to have to train for it and just move forward. One of the things I did recently that was useful, and maybe for you, Annie, I asked a friend to review my LinkedIn site to just give me some feedback as to whether it's, good message, it presents well, it's impactful, really helpful. So I'm happy to do that for anybody. If you want to send me your LinkedIn account, I'll jump on it and send you some feedback about it. I think if that's helpful, because it's very hard to self-assess your own promotional work. I think it can be, I should say. I don't want to be, hopefully that wasn't negative self-talk, but it certainly does help.
Rosanna, can you pop yourself on mute? There's a bit of feedback.
Yep. So can you tell me your name?
Sorry.
Look you up.
Mandy. I'll just put my email address down the bottom if it helps.
Sorry, Mandy, what's your surname?
I'll just put it in the comment.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see if I can. I'm sure I'll find that.
There you go. So that's all you got to do, Paul, is just reach out. There's people that can and will help.
The other comment I was just going to make was to Matt. I've written a memoir again about my experiences, but with my son, who could be you. And I just think what you're doing is incredible. I think it's really important. There's a lot of people that need your story and that get really inspired by it. There's a lot of, my son was an addict, there's a lot of young addicts who've connected, found him, even though his name is changed in my story. They found him and hugely inspired by what he's done and doing. So just keep moving forward and do reach out to this group if you want someone to you know, again, I'm putting myself out there. If you want to talk about, you know, anything to do with what you're writing, just reach out. If you just want to, I don't know.
So Mandy,
thank you. I appreciate that.
Are you in Sydney or Brisbane or where?
I'm in New Zealand.
Oh, far away. Okay.
Not too far. Not too far.
Not that far, just over the ditch.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
Just on
The ditch for the Americans is the water in between the east of Australia and New Zealand.
Now you're crossing the line there, Kat. Okay, you're crossing the line. I get that one.
You'll need your translation book next time, Cherie. Next time you.
I think I'm going to need to find one somehow. I did want to say to Paula though, she made a comment about being overwhelmed. And here's my answer to that. If you get overwhelmed because you set up a Facebook account and a LinkedIn, you and I need to talk, because that would be the best case scenario in the whole world. You don't get overwhelmed by social media. You put your information out there. And like I said, the whole point would be, wouldn't that be great, all you guys, if we could put it out there and all of a sudden we're overwhelmed with requests? It doesn't work that way. You'll be fine with it. You'll put it out there and it builds very slowly and you have your own pace with that. And I've just been following my own advice. I touch my writing work every day, and I submitted a short story to Writer's Digest and hope to be, would be really cool because you get published in the magazine. And so I'm always inspired by all of you. It's just so fun to be here because I've spent the last 6 weeks in a class studying my own beliefs. And it is long story short, it's incredible what you find out when you actually study your own beliefs, what you believe about yourself and who you are and what you do. And it started out because I got a request for my manuscript, a full request. That is the creme de la creme. That means somebody read my synopsis, an agent loved my first 5 chapters and they were read. And then I got a rejection on it. But what was important, not that this was a roller coaster, was when I got the request, my reaction, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know why, I was afraid. I went, oh, wait a second. And that led me to studying my own beliefs. And one of the beliefs that I uncovered about myself was I don't believe in myself. I thought I was some kind of a fraud. And other people are better than me or more than me in some way. I'm not even sure how to describe that. But all of that now is so easy for me to look at. And I'm just amazed at how I didn't understand myself. And I'm continuing with these classes and simply studying my own beliefs. And I've done a lot of things. I have a huge presentation tomorrow. I have young writers coming from 21 school districts. We did a contest. It's my contest. And I got 370 submissions. Oh, somebody kicked me. I know, right? I really did a good job and I almost overdid it. So I brought the confidence to do that and I'm not worried about it. I'm going to get up there tomorrow and we're going to have a blast. And I'm going to give out awards to the kids. And I'm continuing on writing my 2 books. And I have one I want to talk to Andrew about raising kids. So yeah, and what I'm saying is your message is important. And Paula, if you don't like getting out there, get a calendar and link in. I don't know if any of you do this, but it's really fun and important. Find out what's going on in the world and throw your public relations out there based on that. If it's Mental Health Month and you're writing a book on mental health, send out a press release to your newspapers. I don't know if it works where you're at, but here, everything is focused on what's going on in the United States or the world. So if it's National Don't Beat Your Dog Month, and I just wrote a book on not beating your dog, that's going to be, they're going to grab it. The press will grab it and you'll get an article about it. If your book is about children's self-esteem, there are so many things that Hallmark is one of my favorite people. They start all kinds of holidays, National Grandparents Month, National Mental Health Month, National Self-Esteem. But if you follow that, at least here, it is very easy to get free publicity where you don't need to go out there and promote yourself. They'll actually come to you. And that's why having a LinkedIn page and just having a Facebook presence is important. You don't have to work on it every day or do anything with it. It's just that when you contact or send out, say, a press release, and they're really easy to do, and somebody contacts you, they're going to look at your LinkedIn, they're going to look at your Facebook and say, oh yeah, this is exactly what we want for this topic right now. It's hot, it's popular. And that's how you promote free and not have to really put yourself out there. And I found it works very effectively here to do that.
And sorry, what's your name so I can, if I need to contact you?
On the
I
bottom.
can put my email in the chat. It's Cherie Postal. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Cherie.
Don't even hesitate to just reach out and ask. And I can send you some templates of press releases that Jill Lubin puts out. She's one of the best at PR. And she talks all about free public relations. And it's a really easy way to gain confidence because you'll be contacted by maybe a small local newspaper or a radio station. And then you get to talk about what you do. And if you believe in what you wrote, it'll be a breeze because they'll come right across in your conversation. And I can see that it does. And you have that talent. So use that. That's my soapbox for tonight.
That's awesome, Cherie. That's great. See, what I love this forum, I don't even need to talk. It's the best. I'm redundant, almost redundant here. You guys are so good. The answers are in this room, which is amazing. And I think the one thing I would just say about this whole idea of self-promotion, I don't agree. You're not promoting yourself at all. Yeah. If you went out and say, oh, I'm great, check me out, I'm amazing, that's self-promotion. But you're not promoting you. You're promoting something that's going to impact the world, right? I mean, let me look at every face. I'm looking at every single face here. None of you are writing fiction. None of you are writing. Oh, yeah, but Stephen, you are. But you've got to make yours is with a message. You know,
I write both.
And and look, even impacting the world. You know, and please don't get. I hope that didn't come out the wrong way. I've got nothing against fiction. At all. And, you know, there's amazing fiction books that are inspiring and entertaining and hilarious. You know, they have just as much impact, but it's the world we're trying to impact. You know, I think a lot of, you know, speakers, when they're very nervous to speak, right? Like, I don't know who's ever done a public talk and you're nervous. I mean, I think we all have. The reason why you're so worried and why there's such a fear around speaking is because you're thinking, guess who you're thinking about?
Yourself.
Yourself.
Instead of the audience.
You're thinking, what if I stuff it up? What if I don't do this? What if they don't like me? What if I miss something? What if I forget something? The second you flip that, and this is what I learned, the second you stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about who your audience is and the impact you will have on their life, all of a sudden that fear turns to excitement, empowerment. And the same with, you know, when I'm, you know, I'm on the phone every day. I am on social media, but I don't put anything on social media that is necessarily self-promoting. That's all. There's always a lesson for people, always. So when I put something out, it's always to add value, yeah. And that excites me. That doesn't scare me. I want to add value to the world. Yeah. And I think when you flip it from, oh, it's about me, it's not about you at all. It's about the impact you can have on people's lives and the ripple effect of that. So it's just changing your perspective around it. And I'm going to say one last thing, and then we shut the door on this whole topic. Get over it. Said with a smile. You know, you've got to do this stuff if you want to be. No longer are the days where you write a book and you send it to your publishers and then they take it around the world and, you know, and you sell millions of copies sitting in your dark room smoking a pipe with patches on your elbows, right? Those days are long, long, long gone. No publisher is interested in an author that wants that. Publishers will only look at authors that are going to be proactive, they're going to get out there. So, you know, it's just something you've got to do. Like you got to brush your teeth or you lose them. It's just part of being a successful author. So, I know. It's just You learn to love it. I mean, you've just got to learn to love the process, because the process is what will give you the result you want. Therefore, love it. You know, okay, it's a bit painful, it's a bit uncomfortable, but love that, because that means you're getting stronger, getting better, getting more resilient, getting more equipped, getting over stuff. Matt.
I also wanted to add what I'd like to share. Because I used to hate it. What helped me was I suppose what is sort of a blessing and was just there all along was the fact that I sort of have to make myself vulnerable when I run my workshops, when I'm speaking or whatever. No matter where I'm speaking, like I always tend to bring a degree of vulnerability to the stage, and that allows me to share on social media, like publicly, a little bit more comfortably. I'm not saying you need to be speaking, but maybe also being more vulnerable in your day-to-day life might help as well, because that definitely translates over for me for the book. Because like even just like going to my roommate last night and sharing like this whole big emotional moment, because like that video about with me standing, leg lifts, all that stuff, like yeah, I feel it will like help with my writing as well, and then obviously sharing publicly.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. I think the theme of this month is just be real and authentic. That's not self-serving. That's inspiring.
The framing matters too. I remember I always felt marketing was quite, Sheree, don't worry, it comes good in the end. I always thought marketing was quite dirty. Like I quite hated it when I did my initial studies. And I had a professor in my MBA who I basically said as much to, as I was basically like, convince me why marketing isn't just sleazy people trying to get money out of something. And he's like, absolutely, I'm happy to have that conversation. And he said, if you have a product or a service that does something, and there is a person who would be better off with that product or service in their life, and they never find out about it, everybody's worse off. But if they can find out about it, they're better off, and so are you. That's the job of marketing. And that completely reframed marketing for me. And it ended up being something I entered into for years, you know, and have huge respect for, and am a big part of, which is why I was like, Sheree, let me get to the end. Because it's so valuable when it's done right. And it's so icky when it's done wrong. But that's just the smell test. If it smells odd, don't do it. But if it's genuine, then it's great. And if you're, it doesn't matter what your, like, my book is not, my book is totally different than what the kind of topics we're talking about, but I still know it has a value to the people I want it to connect with. So, you know, that for me, that feels like a piece that I'm just not worried about, because it has nothing to do with me, which maybe is advantageous because it's not like my story, as it were. But at the same time, like that's it, the book, you can separate it from yourself, and then you just want to connect it to people who will be better off. That's all you're trying to do now. And for me, at least, that was enough to reframe it for me to actually enter that as a career. So
that's awesome. That's such a great point, Kat. And I think that's really valuable. I think, like, when you think about what you're writing or have written, this is the key question. Do you believe someone's life would be better after having read your book than without it? That's the question you need to answer. Like, that's exactly what Kat said. What you're trying to do is add value, and you've got to believe in your heart that people need to read my book. They need it. Honestly, they need it. Their lives is not going to be great without it. There's going to be a hole in their life if they don't read this book, depending on what your demographic is, of course. Good one. Okay, we're sort of coming towards the end. Any final thoughts? We've got a few just nice observers today. It's always good to have them. Anyone else that hasn't said anything want to share any thoughts or updates? Or who does? Steve does.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is Steve Fleisch does. On my right hand of my screen is like the quiet group, so I'll just kind of dub them all in. Aw, didn't work.
Was that my name I heard?
It was sort of a whisper to see who would pick it up, but yeah, it was.
So as I shared with Kat, who's now diming me out, that's a word that we use here in the US, diming me out. I have not picked up my book in a couple of weeks. I have not touched it, which is something that I said I was going to start doing. And truthfully, it's because work has completely taken over. I'm working on 4 potential opportunities for my company, and 2 of them will probably start before the holidays. So, Andrew, I'm finally at the point where I will be hiring people because I cannot do all of this by myself. So I'm trying to get these things organized and kind of neatly in boxes so that I have more time to write. But in the mornings when I can wake myself up, I'm dragging out of bed, and at night I'm dragging to get into the bed. And I find myself sitting in front of the computer all day, sometimes with no food. So trying to get a handle on this, but I'm hoping right after the holidays that I can just take planning a little vacation where I won't do any work. And that's probably when I'll have to pick it up.
Awesome. Well, thank you for letting us know, Felicia. And the thing about you, as I say it always, is you keep showing up. You know, you're here. And it would be very easy not to be here, but you are. So well done. I know we'll all be wildly celebrating when you publish your book, that's for sure. They'll be dancing in the streets.
It's going to happen sooner than you know it.
I know, Will. I believe it. Anyone else got any final thoughts, or is Kat dobbing anyone else in? What did you say, Felicia? What was the word? The term?
Dime, like the
diming them out.
Yes, dime me out.
Anyone else you need to dime out, Kat?
Oh, I mean, I can have a crack, but Mandy, how's it going with the Australian publisher attempt? I think that was the last time I saw you. You were talking about that. No?
Me?
Yeah, weren't you trying to get like an Australian published, right?
Yeah, well, I haven't done anything on that. I've just decided to self-publish. So I'm just I've bought my InDesign files back off the publisher and gave them. So actually I got them off a graphic designer in Brisbane. I'm giving them to someone locally and wanting to get some just starting from scratch. And I've got Karen is helping sort of mentor me about, Karen Guest, through the self-publishing process. Yeah. So it hasn't been kind of smooth sailing because I don't know, I'm just wrapped with an indecision about things. It's not, initially it flowed really easily, but now I get stuck. So yeah, that's my challenge.
Good. Well, thank you again, Mandy. Thank you, everyone. It's now time to wrap up. I've got someone entering the waiting room. She's just poor Denise, she got the timing wrong. But good to see you all, as always. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your honesty, everyone. Honesty and I know we got a lot out of this. I mean, this has been awesome. I got a lot out of this, as always. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and go forth and multiply those words. Get yourself out there, Paula. You'll be loud and proud. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you. And thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone else.
Have a great month, everybody.
Have a great month, everyone.
See you guys.